One gunshot in a small town changed the world. No one knows who fired it. But after that moment, an empire began to fall. In 1775, 13 small colonies stood against the most powerful empire in the world. They were not rich, they were not united, and they did not have a professional army, but they had something else: anger. This is the story of how the American Revolutionary War began and how it changed the world forever. The war did not begin in a single night. For years, tension had been growing between Great Britain and its American colonies. After the costly 7 Years' War, Britain needed money. So London decided the colonies should help pay the debt. In 1764, the Sugar Act was passed to stop smuggling and increase revenue. In 1765, the Stamp Act forced colonists to pay taxes on printed materials, newspapers, legal papers, even playing cards. 2 years later, the Townshend Acts added more taxes. Then, in 1773, the Tea Act gave special advantages to the British East India Company. The message from London was clear: you will pay. But the colonies had no representatives in Parliament. And so a powerful slogan was born: no taxation without representation. Tensions exploded. In 1770, British soldiers fired into a crowd in Boston. 5 colonists were killed. This became known as the Boston Massacre. 3 years later, colonists dumped British tea into Boston Harbor. The Boston Tea Party shocked the empire. Britain responded with punishment. Boston Harbor was closed. Massachusetts lost self-government. In 1774, colonial leaders gathered in Philadelphia. They were not yet asking for independence. But war was getting closer. On April 19, 1775, British troops marched toward Concord, Massachusetts. Their mission: seize colonial weapons. At Lexington, they met armed militia. A shot was fired. No one knows who pulled the trigger. That shot became known as the shot heard round the world. The American Revolutionary War had begun. In June 1775, the Continental Congress created the Continental Army. George Washington was chosen as commander. He was not the most experienced officer, but he was respected, calm, and determined. The first major battle came at Bunker Hill. The British won, but at a heavy cost. The Americans learned something important: the British could bleed. In 1776, the war expanded. A massive British fleet arrived in New York. Washington's army was defeated on Long Island. New York City was lost. It looked like the rebellion might collapse. But then, in December 1776, Washington made a bold move. He crossed the icy Delaware River at night. He surprised Hessian troops in Trenton, then struck again near Princeton. Small victories, but they saved the Revolution. On July 4, 1776, the Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence, mainly written by Thomas Jefferson. The colonies were no longer asking for rights. They were declaring freedom. Now there was no turning back. Like this story and subscribe for more war timelines. In 1777, Britain planned to divide the colonies. General John Burgoyne would march south from Canada. Other forces would move north from New York, but the plan failed. Burgoyne was defeated twice near Saratoga. On October 17, 1777, he surrendered his army. This was the turning point, because France was watching. After Saratoga, France officially joined the war on the American side. What began as a colonial rebellion had become a global war. The conflict moved south. The British captured Savannah and Charleston. General Cornwallis won important victories, but American resistance did not collapse. At Kings Mountain and Cowpens, British forces suffered serious defeats. The war became exhausting and expensive for Britain. In 1781, Cornwallis moved to Yorktown, Virginia. Washington saw his chance. With French General Rochambeau and the French Navy, he surrounded the British. 14,000 American and French troops closed in. On October 19, 1781, Cornwallis surrendered. The war was not instantly over, but the fighting was finished. In 1783, the Treaty of Paris officially ended the war. Britain recognized the independence of the United States. For the first time in modern history, colonies had broken free from a major empire. The war did not just create a country. It inspired revolutions across the world. It showed that an empire could be challenged and defeated. This was more than a war. It was the birth of a new political age. And that is how 13 colonies changed history. End with question. Which moment in the American Revolution do you think changed history the most? Comment below.